Welcome to the Non-Essential Podcast. I'm Steve Gibson.
I'm Ben Matlock. The show is actually brought to you by Taco Bell. I got that Taco Bell pep today. So I'm gonna just lay down and crash if that's cool.
I was gonna say, you know, and I know, and anybody that's ever eaten Taco Bell knows that the joke in the Taco Bell pep is there's zero pep after you eat Taco Bell, unless things start to go south of the border.
Yeah, if you
and
create a goddamn chemical reaction, rivaling the fucking nuclear bomb. Oppenheimer's about me. Okay, what's brewing right now? Stay tuned for the exciting finish of today's episode when I rocket through my fucking roof.
Good news. This week I've decided to read War and Peace in its entirety. Can Ben make it?
Okay, well, no.
Or will he shit his pants?
That's the rebrand. It's like the non-essential podcast needs a gimmick. Telling stories wasn't enough. Now it's a fucking feed Ben some garbage and make it an endurance challenge.
The best part is Howie Mandel's already signed on to be the host.
Yeah, he's great. We love Howie here. You know he's actually furry from like the neck down.
That's where all the yeah. It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, he's the hairiest man
That's
alive,
what that
actually.
little like weird ass triangle goatee thing he has is. It's pointing to the rest of his hair.
Yeah, it's like it leads to treasure. That's a pickup line. That's free for you, Howie. Enjoy that.
Man, the goatee is about the only thing I can grow now. I'm kind of thinking I need to shave it into an arrow.
Yeah, all sorts of intricate patterns.
No, it doesn't grow that thick. I am not a manly man.
That's the criteria. Can you?
Yeah, to be able to shave patterns into your facial hair or have facial hair.
Yeah,
I get facial hair, but I get the facial hair of like a 13-year-old, like patchy, and it grows. It'll grow really quick till you get that like white trash length, whatever, and then it stops.
Yeah, mine will keep going, but not in like the cool way. I remember like a couple of years ago, I made some like offhanded joke about how I can't grow like full facial hair. Like my beard always turns really patchy and shit. Mm-hmm. And some random dude on Twitter jumped in. Like, it's always weird when people jump into a conversation where it's really jokey and they're dead serious, and he's just like 30 days. I'm like, what? It's like 30 days. Don't touch it for 30 days. It'll be full and perfect. And I never heard from him again. And
he's like a superhero for facial hair.
Yeah,
he just shows up and
it's not true.
Not at all.
I've had multiple 30 to like 60 days where I haven't touched it, not because I'm like really trying to grow a beard, but I'm lazy as shit. And it doesn't. It's definitely fuller, but it's still. You are who you are, and who I am
and that's
is
the
a
thing. It's like
weak little bitch.
I've had people say like, "Oh, you can pull off patchy facial hair, like Keanu Reeves. His is patchy." I'm like, "His is cool patchy. Mine is not cool patchy." It's
Keanu Reeves only pulls that off because he's Keanu Reeves.
Well, right.
Anybody else tries that? Like Keanu Reeves he's one of those people who can he can literally wear whatever the fuck he wants, and you're cool with it because of who he is.
Yeah, it's not because of what he's doing. It's because of who he is. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. Like he could probably wear like one of those little beanies with the propeller on top. He'd be like, fucking rad.
Yeah, that's cyberpunk, man. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, helicopter away, samurai.
It turns out if I do the same thing, it does not have the same effect.
Yeah.
That's what mine literally, like if I let it go, I say it stops growing. It doesn't, but it doesn't get fuller. I literally turn into... I can't remember his name, but Luann's boyfriend from King of the Hill, the one voiced by Tom Petty. Like any cartoon character like that, where they portray their facial hair, but with just like little lines.
Yeah,
like that's what I look like.
Yeah.
So welcome to the men's grooming show, by the way. That's what we are.
That shit like overlaps. It feels like it stops growing, and then it just starts climbing over. Like my mustache just keeps going and climbing into my mouth, and it feels so fucking dirtbaggy. And it's like, and I saw that episode, or I saw that clip from the Last of Us show, where like the woman is like getting attacked by one of the fucking fungus zombies, and the fungus zombies' mushroom tendrils are climbing into her mouth, and it's like that's how it feels.
Pornographic.
It's fucking gross. It's a really disturbing scene, and past 30 days, I live it.
And that's the thing too. Is like I say, it's my facial hair is patchy. My mustache comes in pretty good, but it's like not a cool mustache. It's a
you watch like fucking Deadwood
mustache
and shit, and all these guys have mustaches. How the fuck did they live? Like,
right?
Like and you have a gun at your side all the time. In
right,
the Old
you could
West.
end yourself at any point.
Yeah, the moment I lick my fucking mustache for the 15th time, I'm ending it. I'm fucking drawing the line.
Oh fuck! Somebody brought powdered donuts again.
I'm trying to play poker, and I rub my mustache every time I have a good hand. I have no fucking poker face because of this shit.
On the flip side, though, I can't understand clean shaven dudes because that shit sucks.
That sucks
because
too. Yeah.
As crappy as my facial hair is, it still grows like a stubble. Like I would have to shave every fucking day, and that's exactly what I do. Like, I think I look better with stubble anyway, but even if I didn't, that's what I'm doing because I run clippers over my face, takes about 10 seconds, and good to go.
Yeah. So like you said, this is, grooming life lessons from people who do not want to groom.
Stay tuned after the commercial. We're going to talk about how you don't have to brush your teeth anymore.
Yeah. That's a conspiracy, actually. Welcome to the show. We actually do tell each other stories. That's usually the point.
We mostly tell each other people's stories.
They're all other people's stories. I think I did one episode that was about me.
Yeah, well, technically last week that was a true story about you.
Yeah.
And I will have it no other way. I know we've had I think maybe a combined 3 or 4 episodes where we wrote our own stories. So it wasn't talking about a historical thing. We weren't recounting somebody else's story, and we didn't steal somebody's story.
Yeah.
So out of 212 episodes, I think this one is, we've got 4 original thoughts. So pretty good. This is not going to be one of those weeks. This was actually the worst I've had as far as like, we recorded 9 o'clock my time. It was 8:30. Normally I don't come downstairs until 9 o'clock. So we were getting ready to take Lincoln to bed. I'm like, this is on you tonight, Tara. I don't have shit. I had 2 like actual historic things that I was like, I might just try to wing this without writing notes. One of them I know well enough. I probably could, but, then it's like, nope, Creepypasta week. So we're getting another one of those.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm done apologizing for this shit.
Yeah,
all right?
No, you know what the show is.
Yeah, if you're upset about this at 2:13, who the fuck do you think we are?
But to make up for it, I'm not going to promise I'm going to give like 110% because that's bullshit. We know that's never going to happen. I'll try to give like 30%, which is about 25% more than my normal weeks. So
next week I'll read The Tempest by Shakespeare because fuck that play.
I tried listening to it, like, because I was like, yeah, I've heard of this, and like, I don't know. This is one of the Shakespeare works I don't know anything of, and it's
balls. It's terrible.
It sucked, yeah, and it's no better listening to it. Like sometimes
here's a hot take: every creepypasta we've ever read on this show is better than The Tempest.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of books out there that are well known that like I've had a hard time reading them, but then I'll do like the audio format and you can get through it and you're like, okay, like it wasn't maybe the best read, but the underlying story was pretty good, and I'm glad I listened to that. Tempest was not that.
No, it's bad.
And then to make it worse, if you try to go with the audio format, nobody just reads it like a story.
No,
they do like
play.
The play, right? And
which I mean, I respect the effort, but that only works for me
if worse.
that only works if it's a good play.
Right.
And,
I listened to the, and it was done a while ago, like years ago, but the British Broadcasting, or British Radio, whatever they call it over there, did a broadcast of, In the Mountain of Madness, by the lovely human being.
Hip Hop Lovecraft.
Right.
MC Lovecraft.
It was a really fucking good radio drama. Like, I enjoyed that a lot.
I mean, Lovecraft has good stories. He was just also
a racist piece of crap.
he was just a racist piece of shit. And there were many back then.
Yeah.
And he was one.
Yeah, so, and that's not less saying like, oh, excuse it, but yeah, he's...
No, but I mean, that is kind of an ongoing dialogue all the time about, like, you know, what stories, like can you enjoy the art?
Well,
and
I definitely can enjoy
and condemn the artist, you know?
It's really fucking easy with somebody like him because his stuff's all out of copyright, so he's not getting a damn penny from me.
Yeah,
he's dead.
Yeah.
Like, it's harder. There's more of a discussion there when the artist is still alive, so you're like, yeah, their stuff's good, but they're a piece of crap, but then consuming it directly, like, rewards them.
But, I mean, and there's, like, clear examples of, like, just artists with, like, heinous beliefs and shit. But it's also, it's kind of a muddy principle because it's like, if you, like, restrict your consumption of, like, art from only people you completely like and agree with, that becomes a very short list.
Well, and you're not getting exposed to other ideas, so you're just
And to be fair, some ideas are dog shit, and it's
sure.
you know, we don't need a fucking open market of ideas for every dipshit who, like, read a Wikipedia once. But
I'll tell you, I've come to the point where I just my thoughts on it, like, is if a particular person, like, it's an individual thing. The Harry Potter game's a great example of that because I get why people don't want to play it and don't want to support it. That's great. People that are like, well, you know, I'm still going to play it. I'm not going to be like, well, you're the worst person I've ever met. Yeah. It's like your convictions just are different than mine. Or you just don't know. Like, my wife loves Harry Potter. She's not online. She doesn't really...
That's the thing. A lot of these are from people who are just perpetually online on both sides, where it's like, you know... But a lot of people aren't looking at the world that way, and they're probably right to, you know, because, like... You know, especially with, like, the Harry Potter thing, whether you play the game or not play the game or buy the game and not buy it, you're not disrupting J.K. Rowling at all. Like, that's not how you win that fight. Anyway, but I respect the personal choice of, like, how you're going to approach it, but it really, all of these, like, boycotts and shit, that's not that's not how you're gonna get what you want because the monster's too big that way.
We've said it about every boycott, though, like, or at least we've said it about a lot of them, like, a boycott's a personal choice. You know, I might, you know,
it's about what you're comfortable with. Yeah.
Right. I could say I'm boycotting the Harry Potter game. I'm not playing it because I don't.
I'm not playing. Because I don't
give a shit about Harry Potter.
Yeah. I spent all week on Twitter actually coming up with better ideas for Harry Potter than Harry Potter.
But I mean, we've had other games
I like the idea of people who didn't get into Hogwarts becoming, like, street wizards.
I don't know. That's one of the things, too, if you want to get into it. I get why it's so important to people. They grew up with it and they're cherished, but to 100% real, those books are just, like, mediocre at best. It was right place, right time.
They're long as fuck.
Yeah.
For what that story is, that is absurd. The length of those fucking books.
You know, another... Lemony Snicket was another kid's series that I got into, like, in my 20s, and not into, but I found out about him, you know, I was older. I wasn't like a teen or young adult reader, and it does the same thing. The first, like, 4 or 5 books are, like, almost like 80-page books, and I'm like, this is perfect. I can read it in, like, a half hour.
This really is a series of unfortunate events. Each book is an event. And then
it started getting longer and longer, and it got to the point, I think there was like 17 books or something. I don't know, because I didn't fucking read them all. But you get to about book 8 and you're like, this thing's 800 pages, what the fuck?
Yeah.
like Slow your roll, whoever wrote that book. I don't know.
Get a fucking editor, please.
Right. But anyway.
All right,
I think
15-minute preamble. Let's do this, huh?
Yeah, this Creepypasta I think is kind of long. It's not super long, but anyway. It's called Before It Rains by Chambergambit.
All right, Chambergambit. Woo!
But it's all one word, so I think you have to say it quicker. Chambergambit.
Chicambit. Yeah. that sounds like a Burger King sandwich. The chick gambit.
I'm sorry, I'm not eating anything with the word gambit in it. Now, sometimes I eat a lot of things where the gambit's implied. We started with Taco Bell. That's
do you have a Cold Stone Creamery in your neck of the woods?
Not anymore. We did, but they closed.
Yeah, there was an online challenge called the Thompson's Gambit, where you get like a fucking thing of sweet cream, and then like every mix-in they have. So it's just this giant tub of ice cream with like every fucking candy they got, and you had to like get through it all, and pretty much everyone threw up.
Yeah, I mean, if diabetes runs in my family, if I don't already have it, I would die of it before I was done. You would contract it and die of it in the same meal.
Just gradually getting amputated.
Yeah.
All right.
So. Thunder rolls over a small desert town in Southern California. In the Dougal house, glass trinkets on the shelves shudder, threatening to fall. Sean, an 18-year-old boy with dark hair and glasses, clamps his hand over a ceramic mermaid to hold it in place, feeling the supple curves. Oh, wait, no, that's the lighthouse. Behind him, his grandfather wakes from his nap on the recliner and jerks his head back to stare at the ceiling.
Jerks his dick clean off.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if you've ever lived with an aging relative, that's...
It's detachable.
I hope I sold that. I've never lived with an aging... My grandparents all died when I was young. So, which is also hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Like that you went with the reading rainbow noise. Anyway... Rain, says his grandfather in a low and hoarse voice.
That's really dramatic. Rain.
I think that's from the Witcher, right?
I don't know. I mean,
I forget what he says exactly.
He pretty much says everything. Piss.
Yeah. Sean lets go of the mermaid and cleans off his glasses with the sleeve of his hoodie as he turns around. Yep, we need it too. I picture Sean's a dork.
Oh, I thought you thought he was cool.
It rained half the year in Cork, grandfather says. Mom will probably be back before it starts, though, Sean says, ignoring him. He didn't care to hear another speech about how great and or horrible things were back in Ireland. Good for you, Sean.
Shut up.
Sitting down on the faded orange sofa next to him, Sean returns to organizing his college registration papers. Sorry, I thought I said college resignation papers, which was great.
Yeah, I have forms ready to quit whenever I need to.
Does he want a single dorm or a roommate? They don't give you the option of a single dorm. After years of being an only child, maybe he isn't equipped to handle sharing a room. Then again, he could benefit from the change. You're also literally like living with your mom and grandpa, so that's kind of like you didn't grow up in a shack. The recliner to his left squeaks, and Sean looks up to see his grandfather padding over to the window. The pitter-patter sound of raindrops fills the living room as the storm begins. Sean frowns, keeping an eye on his grandfather's balance. Do you want your cane? He asks. Grandfather shakes his head and lifts up a trembling hand to peek through the blinds. He sighs. It's been too long, says the old man. It's time. He's talking about since the last time he pissed.
Yeah.
And Sean's like, fuck.
It has begun.
Sean watches the puddle gather at his grandfather's feet. Oh. Sean picks up a pencil and starts to fill out a form. Time for what? Time to go out. His grandfather steps away from the window and heads to the front door. He stops to slip slip his shoes on, leaning against the wall for support. Grandpa, you can't go out, Sean says, dropping his pencil and standing up. It's raining. Which was the entire conversation you guys just had. So, yeah. He goes over to his grandpa and takes his arm to steer him away from the door. His grandfather just kicks his ass and keeps going. Shakes his head and tries to shrug him off. Mom's coming home and she'll make dinner. It's going to be mashed potatoes, remember? They're your I don't give a damn about those bleeding potatoes, boy. He snapped. I like Grandpa. Grandpa's the hero of this story.
Yeah, he's not. He seems like.
If I'm old and my grandson's trying to bribe me with fucking mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes are great. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but still, they're just fucking mashed potatoes.
But I'm also at that point. I'm old and dying. It's like you don't get to bribe me with it. You reward me for it. I fought in Korea.
I don't give a damn about bleeding potatoes, boy. I like that reading better. Sean drops his arm and takes a step back, holding his hands up to surrender. Whoa, sorry.
Whoa.
His grandfather... Sean's a...
Slipping on a banana peel?
Pissant, yeah. His grandfather peers at him through his milky eyes, his frowning deepening the wrinkles on his face. I can't be running and hiding every April shower, can I? For one, it's May, and two, Sean stops and grumbles when his grandfather turns away and opens the door. Grandpa, we can go for a walk when it stops, I promise. No, his grandfather halted in the doorway and twisted back, pointing a skeletal finger to Sean's face. You stay here and wait for your ma. I mean it, Sean. I don't need you crying after me like a baby. I'm sorry, I can't read and do voices at the same time, but I'm going to keep doing it.
Go back and mind your ma.
That's a funny statement to make from a guy who's tweeted before how much he thinks it would be cool to be a voice actor. I want to do voice acting. I just can't read and do voices at the same time.
Yeah.
It's the one and only qualification.
I want to read it and then just go, yeah.
No one said I was crying, old man, Sean huffs, folding his arms across what little chest he has.
Just love potatoes.
His grandfather's face softened and he smiles. This old man just has something he's needing to do. Ah, damn it now. You're supposed to stay an asshole, Grandpa.
Yeah. That is creepypasta pacing, though.
Yeah. Fine, says Sean, but when you get cold and die, I'm telling Mom it was your fault. His grandfather laughs now.
Yeah, and I am petty enough to do that. I'll be at your funeral.
Yeah,
this
motherfucker killed himself. Yeah.
Dumbass.
But you don't have that tone, because remember, he's just this, little meek, weakling dweeb. He'd be like, I told him it was his fault.
And when we meet in the after, the great beyond, I'm going to tell him he was a dumbass.
His grandfather laughs. You're right about that, my boy. It was my fault.
Leave me alone.
With that, he closes the door behind him. Sean rocks back on his heels, torn between worry over his grandfather's health and his need to respect his wishes. He shakes his head to clear his thoughts and walks over to the window, pulling the blinds up to see outside. A few yards into his street, his grandfather makes small, unsteady steps. Sean adjusts his glasses, contemplating getting his cane. However, the old man has been so adamant about not being followed that Sean figures he can deal with a fall on his own. Fuck you, old man. Sean grew some balls. Time inches by as he slowly makes his way further and further down the street. A dull roar replaces the pitter-patter. Heavy downpour makes it difficult for Sean to see. His grandfather can't be that far away, but the blurry figure seems smaller than it should be. Sean takes off his glasses to once again wipe them clean. So that cliche movie thing where it's it must be my glasses why I can't see.
Yeah.
Putting them back on only when he's sure every smudge is gone. He looks back out the window, squints his eyes, and frowns. As he continues to walk, his grandfather's steps become sluggish. His arms dangle at his sides as if held down by some enormous weight. Yeah, it's called old age. It's a terrible weight.
Fucking life.
Fucking 40, and I already feel that.
You've carried every day you've lived with you to this moment.
Sean presses his nose against the glass to get a closer look, and then he licks the glass because it's sexy. Oh.
Yeah.
Worry and guilt bubbling in his stomach. His grandpa's head seems to sink into his shoulders as his back hunches forward. He falls to his knees, and Sean immediately runs for the door. He throws it open and races into the street. I done fucked up, Grandpa. I shouldn't have let you go. Raindrops cling to the lenses of his glasses. His glasses don't have lashes. That'd be weird. Obscuring his vision. Actually,
the fake mustache attached to my glasses.
Yeah, that's kind of the kind of kid I'm picturing, honestly. Sean can't see what's happening. He's only going with instinct. His clothes quickly soak through to his skin. Puddles splash with every step. You're describing a rainstorm. Good job. Along with a sickening squish in his waterlogged shoes. What the fuck do you have in your shoes, kid? Like, I mean, my shoes squish when they're wet, but it's not sickening. It's just like, yeah, they're wet.
My shoes squish.
Yeah.
It's just like tennis shoes if they're really drenched.
Well, yeah. Like I said, mine's squish, but it's not sickening. It's just
mine's very gross.
Regular. Yeah, okay.
Fluids eke out.
Yeah, but yours do that when it's not raining. It's just your normal, like...
Yeah, I use a lot of public bathrooms. Get into a lot of hijinks.
Cupping his hands over his mouth, Sean calls out for him. His voice cracks, tears stinging his eyes. Sean wonders how he knew he would come crying after him. The worry and guilt in his stomach turns to nausea as the shape collapses, no longer even half the size of the old man it started out as. Sean stops and tries to call out again, but it just turns into a sob. Grandpa! He trudges forward, his pace much slower with the weight of all the water in his clothes. God, he really is a fucking weakling. Like, I'm I don't go to the gym, but I've been soaked as, wet as you can possibly be, and it doesn't fucking slow me down. I guess maybe he's wearing, 13 layers of clothes or something. I don't know.
Again, I've walked in some pretty big storms. It's not unheard of that you kind of feel weighed down and a little sluggish. You're the weird one.
Yeah, I guess maybe I am just... I'm really strong. So anybody that's listening that hasn't seen or known me...
You probably walk at the same fucking goddamn Gimli-ass pace.
That's exactly it. That's 100%. I can't... If I slow down anymore, I'd be going backwards.
Yeah, you could walk into the ocean at the same speed you walk on land.
I love that. I'm going to use that as an insult next time I'm in an argument with somebody. It'd just be so random, but it's a good insult. Sean stops and tries to call out again, but it just turns into a stop. He trudges forward, his pace much slower with the weight of the water in his clothes. When he reaches his goal, he kneels down into the puddle to find nothing but a pile of clothes. He picks up his grandfather's plaid shirt, but it slips through his fingers like mud. Sean holds back another sob and plunges his hands into the clothes, only to be met with some thick, slimy substance. He digs through it, hoping that somehow he can pull his grandfather out from underneath. The rain keeps pounding down on him, thunder shaking his bones with every boom. What remains of the clothes dissolves in the water, leaving only wet pavement behind.
So why did he want this and not mashed potatoes?
He wanted to be mashed potatoes. That's what it's. You are what you ate. He ate too many fucking mashed potatoes, and then went into the rain. And I can't just
these don't satisfy. I want to be one of them.
I'm from Cork, Ireland. Damn it, we dream of becoming potatoes. Aye, laddie.
This is my Valhalla.
Soon, Sean is back home because he gives up easy. His shoulders draped in a towel and a mug of hot tea in his hands. He sits at the kitchen table trying to make sense of what happened, but his mind is blank. His name is James Dougal, his mother says into her phone. She's on the phone with the police because Sean was too fucking stupid to do anything other than get a towel and make tea.
If somebody, if a relative fucking wandered off and I watched them dissolve, I'd probably I'd go back and do my normal shit.
Yeah, but we already like established he can't see if there's a slight smudge on his glasses. If you've ever worn glasses in the rain, like he's thought his grandfather dissolved. His grandfather just got naked because he's old and like confused. So
Again,
there's a naked
I'd let him probably run wild.
Well, yeah, at that point you don't want to be the one to find him. Yeah, I looked everywhere, I swear. Did you follow his footprints? Oh yeah, totally. It just disappeared. It's weird.
Yeah, he just dissolved.
You know, that's in the middle of a tangent-filled show already. Actually, we're getting through the story pretty good. I don't know if I've ever told the story. I used to have a police scanner in my car. You know, a radio that could listen to emergency frequencies. Way back in the day.
No,
it was really cool.
I never use those every day when I'm doing deals under the bridge.
It was kind of fun to have because you could listen to like what was going on. There was one point. There was a particular road in the town that I grew up in, where I lived at the time, that would flood like really bad every time we got a real heavy rain. They would have to close the road, but there was always those people that are like, that's for pussies. I'm going to drive around this barricade and through the water.
Yeah, there's tons of YouTube videos of people like that.
Yeah, because people are fucking stupid. Yeah. Because they think once a road floods, it looks like it's a relatively flat road, and so you think it's a couple inches. But that's because floodwater hides the valley. It pools in places that are low. So anyway, yeah, I mean, this was like 2+ feet of water that they were trying to drive through, thinking it wasn't that bad. So people would get stuck all the fucking time. And you could already hear every time the police would get a call about a car being stuck, how like fucking annoyed they were. So one day I was sitting there in my car driving somewhere, and I heard another car get stuck at this place, and you could hear them be like, okay, we're fucking on our way. Then they get there, and all of a sudden the radio chatter turns to, a guy just jumped out of this car, he's butt naked. And they had to take off like pursuing him, like kind of half on foot, half in the car, trying to multiple units get involved at this point. But you could tell that they're all like on the radio acting like, oh, I'm going down this road, I'm trying to cut him off, but you could tell nobody wanted to be the guy that caught him.
Yeah.
Right. So, and they did eventually catch him, I guess. Like, I think I got where I was going, and I just kind of quit listening. But it was just hilarious how much you could tell.
I wasn't just a guy in like a flood. Like, not even like there. It's probably, I don't want to touch the naked guy. But to me, it would be like, I've seen too many movies where the hunter becomes the hunted, and like that dude will pop out of a pool of water with a knife in his teeth behind you.
Oh, no, worst would be to get killed barehanded by a naked guy that you were chasing while you're a fully armed police officer.
Just fucking drowned. Yeah.
And he wouldn't even just jump out like boo. It would be that like horror movie thing where that slowly just rises up out of the water and then fucking
somehow his fucking mud ass face paint hasn't washed off.
Right.
Because it's mixed with the blood of all the other people he killed.
And then it turns into a creepypasta.
Yeah. Naked Flood. Coming to the theaters this summer.
Oh, I skipped a whole paragraph. That's why Sean was back at home. His mom pulled up while he was out in the street. That's not important. I'm kind of crafting this story to fit my needs. But that paragraph's, not important.
Yeah, we get to make that call as editors.
It was intentional.
As editors, we can't even do the justice of reading these as they've been written.
In fairness, this Creative Commons license on this particular one says that it's free to reuse and alter. So,
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chicken Gambit.
That's just like a remake of the X-Men where they're all farm animals.
Want a double Chicken Gambit? I guess 2 Chicken Gambits.
2 Chicken Gambits. That's KFC's new meal plan. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Sean can't make out the officer's muffled response. Pushing his tea away, Sean rests his head on the table. When he closes his eyes, all he can see is the crumbling shape in the rain, so he focuses his attention on the dancing shamrock pattern on the mug. It's one of those cheesy St. Patrick's Day gifts that his mother loves and his grandfather hates. Hanging up, his mom leans against the table.
Grandpa sounds like a miserable son of a bitch.
Right, I like him. Like, I
I
identify
don't.
with.
Fucking
And the
enjoy your
melting
fucking
away
mug.
into nothing. If I could fucking melt away into nothing, I would have done it like 8 times last week. With the kind of weeks we've been having at work. But, and then Tara would be sitting over there watching me melt, about to have another kid. She'd be like, you fucking
Yeah, you are a beacon
quitter.
of optimism. Like, I'm just leaving fucking 2 children and a wife behind because I had a hard week at work.
In fairness, it's one children and 90% of another child. She's not done cooking yet.
Yeah, if you're not done cooking, you're not, fuck you.
Ohio does, well...
Daddy's melting.
I live in a fun state where the second that Tara was pregnant, that counts as a life, but as soon as I go to do my taxes, I can't fucking claim it because it's not born yet.
On the other hand, I have my own law about that, where if you can't make your own peanut butter sandwich, you're not a person. So,
jeez, I've met adults then that don't qualify as a person, and that's fair.
And it's right. I'm saying, like, we have to have some sort of standard. That's the licensing test to be a human.
Oh, fuck, I'm gonna. If that doesn't count, and I don't get a tax break until they make a peanut butter sandwich, that's the first fucking thing I'm teaching this baby. Blah, blah, blah. Hanging up, Mom leans against the table and purses her lips. I just don't get it. No kidding, Sean says, flatly. Oh, that wasn't flat, sorry. Misread that
No
one.
kidding, I said.
No kidding.
Drearily.
At least they're not all mumbling this week like the last story I read. Or muttering, that's what it was. The green and gold colors on the mugs blend together and almost look pretty. Dad hated rain, says his mom as she pulls out the chair and sits down. Hell, back when I was a kid, if the weather forecast was bad, we'd go on a road trip. Okay.
All right, yeah.
I've never been able to successfully outrun a rainstorm. Like, I don't know how you'd pull that off.
Yeah, that's a weird reaction. Rain's a coming. Let's book it to Vegas.
He'd make a game out of it, like, the rain can't catch us, we'll outrun it. Oh, I guess I could keep reading. She sighs and rests her chin in her hand. I think that's why he moved here, the low rainfall. That freak storm came out of nowhere, though. Caught him by surprise. Fuck you, Grandpa. Sean looks up at her. Do you have any idea why he hated it? I think it's because he melts, she says. Yeah, I think that it reminded him of Ireland.
Yeah, if you turned into a puddle of liquid shit, you probably wouldn't like it either.
Right. Yeah, I think it's because it reminded him of Ireland. Rain half the year in Cork, says Sean, mimicking his grandfather's accent. He picked up his head and pulled the mug closer to him. Running his thumb across the goofy shamrock faces, he frowns. Why did he leave? You kind of just asked that. Oh, the mystery of my father's great departure, says his mother with a small smile, even though her father's currently fucking missing.
That sounds like he was a serial killer.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes, the mystery of the old fuck who just abandoned his home.
Although we're joking, maybe that's where it's going, and that'd be a cool twist. Like, he killed somebody, like, by drowning him, and then the person, like, has been chasing him down as Rain ever since.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
The end. We finished your story for you. I'm not...
Yeah. Now we rake in the bank. 3 wins.
All those stories he would tell about him and his brother trying to be con artists when they were your age? Sean nods and smiles. Yeah, they paint rabbit skins and sell them as seal skins.
No, you dumbass.
But the trick, says his mother, holding up a finger as to give Sean a cue. He gladly complies. It was the middle finger, by the way.
Yeah.
Fuck you, stop.
But the trick is you don't interrupt me again, you little brat.
You little piece of shit. You get weighed down in the rain, I could definitely kick your ass.
The trick is I'll put this middle finger in your fucking eye if you talk over me.
The trick was to get out of town before it rained. Sean sits up straight as the words leave her mouth. Did that have something to do with what happened? Better not, because that's the worst fucking twist. Like, he swindled the wrong person with a rabbit hide, and they rained him to death. Was this I
was going to say, that's just slang for serial killing.
Yeah. Was Grandfather trying to clue him in on something this whole time? Sean had always thought that the rain would wash off the paint and reveal their ruse, but maybe there was something more to it. He'd fucking melt. His mother's warm hand covers his own. He looks up to see her smiling at him. You don't need to worry, all right? Grandpa just got confused. It happens.
You don't need to worry. He's just out there bubbling.
And I love this story, this scenario that they're now painting where the mom's like, don't worry, he's just missing. I'm not looking for him, though. Like, because if she honestly believed that he's just out there confused, but you're sitting on your ass at home like, it'll probably work out.
You know, there is some truth after a certain point when somebody's missing. You kind of, like, there's that, like, movie sort of cinematic idea of, like, and we looked all over the place and all night and put up flyers and shit. There is a certain point when people are missing that all you can kind of do is wait, and it sucks.
Sure. That's a certain point, but it sucks, and she's smiling, and this point seems to be 10 minutes after he went missing. Like, seems like they rushed to that. I guess everybody's got their own pacing. Whatever. You don't need to worry. Grandpa just got confused. The police will find him soon. Well, you're fucked if you're just trusting the police to do all the work for you. Like,
yeah, I mean, you know, yeah. It's funny because, like I said, you know, I've dealt with that experience.
Sure.
We've talked about it before, and it's like the people missing can go to like the hospital, and it won't be reported.
Right.
Like, you know, it's funny because it's supposed to be, but they'll just be like, yeah, we'll do what we need and push them out.
And 100%, like, there's a slight chance, because depending on this guy's age, that they would take it seriously right away and be like, oh, it's an Alzheimer's thing. 99% of the time, if it's anybody over the age of like 12, they're like, we can't do anything for 36 hours because they might just have wandered off.
Yeah.
And then after 36 hours, they're like, after 36 hours, they're probably abducted, but the chance of finding him alive is nothing. So, like... Right, says Sean. The urge to tell her what he really saw builds in his throat like bile. But he takes a sip of tea to force it down. Do you want me to make you something, she asks?
It in my throat like Grandpa's sludge.
Yeah, I drank Grandpa, hoping to keep him in. That's all I could think of. I didn't have a pail, all right?
I went out there and plugged in a crazy straw. And
the weirdest thing is he tasted just like Sunny Delight. That's weird.
That would scare me. Like if he actually tasted good.
You're like, wait, is this some supernatural thing, or am I just a cannibal?
My God, he's a real Capri Sun commercial.
Jeffrey Dahmer was onto something. Son of a bitch. Do you want me to make you something? Yes, mashed potato. No thanks, I'm going to bed. Just let me know if you need anything, says his mother. Good night.
That was really peppy.
Good night, says Sean.
You know.
Yeah. Well, that's how they
seem have a good night.
To be. As he makes his way across the house to his room, he stops at the living room window. Peering through the blinds, he trembles at what he sees. The storm is powerful, destructive. It whips branches of sturdy trees back and forth until they break. The water floods the streets, trapping people in their homes. But the storm is also cleansing. It washes over the little town like a baptism, removing all sins. The sunshine tomorrow will be brighter and more beautiful than ever. So, like, are you looking... I assume this is kind of metaphorically speaking.
So we're saying that Grandpa was full of sin. We need to cleanse his ass.
Yeah, it's exactly the biblical story of the ark, except for God smiting one fucking person with the whole flood. Like, it's like, I could zap him with lightning, but that's getting boring. Let's melt him with rain.
Yeah.
And make sure that pissant Sean witnesses it.
I like the flip. I like the idea of flipping the Noah's Ark story where, like, God's making Noah set up a hit. Where he only, like, I only want one species on the boat because I'm about to sink that bitch.
Right. Yeah, imagine, okay, one more diversion because we're almost at the end anyway, and I can't imagine this is going to be a satisfying ending at this point. Sorry, Burger Gambit, whatever.
I'm liking it, but go on.
Yeah. So imagine, if you will, getting like a Noah's Ark type voice of God, and he's like, you've got to build this like thing, you know, a boat or building or whatever.
Build me a thing.
And here's a list of people that I want you to bring into your boat. And then, like, just imagine, like, as the storm's starting and you're closing the door to your boat and you start looking around and you realize that all the other people on the boat are giant fucking assholes. Like, you're like, wait, that's a pedophile. This guy's a murderer. And, like, you suddenly just have that, like, Twilight Zone realization that
like, no,
you're not on this savior ship. You're on
the
this
fucking
smiting ship. Yeah.
What about, like, Noah's getting all these people rounded up for his boat? And then I just have this image of, like, you know, everything's getting sealed up and ready to go, and the water level's rising. And then Noah's running away like the dude who planted the car bomb in The Godfather. It's like, hey, Noah, are you coming? Noah!
You just see this rowboat rowing as fast as he fucking can.
I would be terrified to watch fucking Noah just paddling away like, what the fuck did you do?
I think we've got 2 great ideas for Hollywood movies. So anybody listening, stay the fuck away. I'm going to work on these. Anyway, so waters flood the streets, but they're also cleansing, and sunshine will be beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Sean wonders why his grandfather fled the rain for so many years, even though I just watched him melt. Again, I think it's self-explanatory.
Yeah, well, now we need to figure out the why to the why, but we know why.
But he shakes his head to push away the thought. What's important is that he faced it, this unknown force that dissolved him in the... Okay, well, that's a big fucking leap.
Yeah, he didn't need to. Right. Like any roof would have, like, kept it away.
He was literally safe, and then it's like, fuck it.
What's important is, like, that's... Yeah, I could have gotten in the ring with fucking Mike Tyson. You know, at least I faced it, but I'm dead now.
And I get those stories where it's like, I'm tired of leaving town every time my cover's blown. But this is basically like, I'm tired of staying inside when it rains. Yeah, that one thing that every fucking person does
I was gonna
already.
Say, hey, you're not in like a bomb shelter. Like, you're in a house when it's like bad weather. We all do that.
Right. It's not like the normal person's like, woohoo, rain, let's go play outside. Yeah. Like, it happens, I guess.
You
like,
could have literally gone out with an umbrella and been fine, and you would have technically faced it.
Right. That night, Sean dreams of seals, their smooth bodies and slippery skin sliding through the infinite depths of the ocean. He woke up with a sticky, wet spot on his crotch. Yeah.
Gross.
That's the end. I don't really get the moral there, like,
don't fucking fool me.
Yeah, with rabbit skins instead of seal skin, which in fairness, you'd have to be really fucking dumb to mistake a rabbit skin for a seal skin, because they're different kinds of fur. Yeah,
but it's skin, so isn't it like leather?
Well, I mean, no, because he painted it. Why would you paint it if it's just leather? Like, it sounds like they're hides.
Why would you paint fur?
Well, because seals are different colors than rabbits.
Yeah, so, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they would do... It would be, like, the skin, not, like, you shave the fur off. And then you would, like... You know, so it's... I don't know. Why are we collecting skins?
Well, because this is the Irish serial killer.
Okay.
And also the witch from Wizard of Oz.
Seals and rabbits is just, like, different fucking types of victims.
Yeah. But they all fucking haunt you down and melt you.
Yeah.
So this is like the greatest like advertisement for PETA ever. Like, don't not harm animals because it's the right thing to do. Don't harm animals because you'll eventually get old and melt.
Because we put acid in the fucking water supply, and it's evaporated. Now it's back in the clouds, and it's coming for you.
That's too close to home, Ben. I'm here in Ohio next to that train derailment, getting ready to grow a third limb.
You think that's close to home? Who do you think caused it? Right here, pal. No.
Yeah. I fucked up just there too. I said getting ready to grow a third limb, which would imply that I only have 2 currently. I meant third arm.
Yeah, you're gonna grow a third arm out your ass and hop around.
Yeah. It'll be really convenient to wipe afterwards, but really inconvenient to go.
Now I'm imagining like a man with like no legs. And then, like, a third arm out his ass, and he just
hops on. Like
he cartwheels everywhere.
Oh yeah, that would work. Now you're a fucking like Dark Souls.
Now I'm creating like fucking Dead Space.
They just all each arm has a scimitar or whatever, one of those curves, because it has to be scimitar. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't say that word. I do know why. It's because I'm tired and I don't care. But
because fuck the English language.
yeah.
It's fucking 10 o'clock.
Again, I live in rural Ohio. The English language is not our top priority here.
No.
Dadgummit. Yins. Oh, wait, no, that's Pittsburgh.
It's actually a minor miracle we've done this many episodes and the show hasn't devolved into just like caveman talk. I like that story though. I like the idea.
Yeah, I did like it. Like it kind of like the ending kind of missed for me, but part of that is because by that point I was just
we are so derailed that like I can't I can't even really knock the story's pacing because our pacing's what shit today. But like I don't think it was the strongest ending, but I think it's one of those stories that's meant to be more about the idea.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a really good job describing sort of like it starts with that, like I said, at least to me, not you, Superman, but for most of us, walking in the rain is kind of that exhausting, dreary sort of experience for a while. But then like having it just like, you felt the weight turning this fucking old man into shit. And I liked it.
Yeah, the first part of it, and again, maybe the second part would have if I didn't like if I wasn't so like scattered tonight. But the first part very much like in my mind was painting like Stephen King-esque, like the Mist type like images, like the old man that knows something supernatural, but you don't know what he knows, and then the like kind of disappearing into the elements, and then the like the melting into a blob and dissolving is 1,000%. I think Stephen King's used that like 13 times.
Yeah, he actually does it once a month himself.
Right,
clears the pores.
Right, the sun comes out the next day, and it's more beautiful.
Yeah, you grow out of like a flower pot anew. Yeah, I question a lot of the old man's motives. Because it's like, yeah, there's...
He couldn't stand fucking mashed potatoes for dinner one more time.
There's facing your fears, and then that's just being suicidal. Like...
Yeah.
But
unless he just didn't know exactly what would happen. But like I say, it seems to me to be trying to tie it back to like, this is what happens when you fleece people by selling like... Yeah. And it's like that's like the most minor scam I can possibly think of.
Like we made a joke about it, like and it might be tied to like more like true Irish mythology or something.
Yeah, that could be too.
But I do think like to me, there's the temptation of like, if you really want this story to land, make that grandpa like a piece of shit. If not now, back in the day.
But yeah, like a secret piece of shit. Like you reveal the dark part of his past, but it's just weird to me that the dark part of his past is that he ran some like sales con that like most Amazon's running that exact con. I bet you can go on Amazon and buy a seal skin and it'll be a rabbit skin. And not even like a real rabbit, but like...
Yeah.
Why does the seal skin look like Bugs Bunny? It's fucking weird.
I wrap it around my Lola Bunny plush pillow.
It adds that fleshy
and
realness.
That's why I'm on certain lists.
There was a story I didn't end up clicking on it to look at it, but just Creepypasta, you may have seen it because we use the same site, but it was called like the title was called like normal porn for normal people.
Oh yeah, I've read that one. It's a good one. Doesn't have a good format for this show though. Yeah, I kind of figured that it would either, like, not that we have a lot of, like, content standards, but it's more, like, it'll either be, like, it's pure bad or... It's a shame because there's a lot of good stories that are, like, because when Creepypasta started, it started as forum posts. Right. So, like, they weren't, like, these short stories. They were, like, a cooperative... work of fiction, like Slender Man and all that shit. That was people going back and forth and improving all this shit. But the problem is that's kind of hard to read on an audio show because it's like, forum post fucking February 27th, boo. and then forum posts too, and it's tough to do, and there's a lot of stories like that, but they are good. So read you some of them. Or don't. I don't really care.
I refuse to, because you said that they were good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're good. They're good the way all of these are good, where either some of them are genuinely interesting or they are fucking hilarious.
What we need, we don't need to discuss it on air because it's our planning phases, but now you're giving me ideas. Crazy, wonderful ideas.
Something wonderful. What if we went bankrupt?
Well, yeah. Way ahead of you there.
Okay, well, that's an hour. The better part of an hour. Thanks for listening to the Ramble edition.
It was the better part of your
There's going to be two versions of the show, the Ramble version or the $50 clean cut where it's just the story.
Yeah, we're like the opposite of most Patreons where it's like pay money and you'll get the full show. It's like pay us money and we'll cut out all the extra crap. I'll actually edit
some of this shit. How's that sound? Yeah.
Can't wait to be rich next week.
Yeah.